Captain Hyunwoo Park stood on the bridge of the Soul's Promise, watching the stars shimmer through the viewport. His ship was small compared to the massive war vessels that other species might send for first contact. But Earth had chosen diplomacy over intimidation. The ship carried gifts, not weapons. Art, music, and science from humanity's greatest minds filled the cargo holds. "Captain, we're receiving a response to our transmission," said Dr. So-Young Kim, the ship's lead scientist. She had spent years learning what little they knew about alien languages. Her excitement was clear in her voice. "Put it through," Hyunwoo said. He straightened his uniform. This moment would change everything for humanity. They were no longer alone in the universe. The message came through in broken but understandable English. "Human vessel, you will follow coordinates we send. Do not deviate. Do not resist," Dr. Kim frowned. "That doesn't sound very friendly, Captain." "Maybe it's just their way," Hyunwoo replied, though he felt uneasy. We knew different species might have different customs. Far away, on a massive space station orbiting the star Vega, Supreme Commander Vextar watched the human ship approach. His four eyes studied the primitive vessel with amusement. The hegemony had been watching Earth for decades. They knew everything about these strange creatures who called themselves humans. "Look at that pathetic ship," Vextar said to his council. His voice was deep and rumbling. "They send us one tiny vessel. No weapons. No shields worth mentioning. They truly believe we want to be their friends." War Commander Torvak, Vextar's second-in-command, laughed. "Their whole planet has maybe a few hundred ships like this one. We have 10,000 war vessels in this system alone." "They're like children," added Science Commander Colin. "Our observations show they still fight each other over resources. They don't even have unity on their own world. How can they expect to survive among the stars?" Vextar nodded. The humans had something the hegemony wanted. Earth was rich in rare metals and had perfect conditions for life. The humans were just pests living on valuable property. "Bring their ship to the docking bay," Vextar ordered. "Let's see these creatures face to face before we tell them the truth." The Soul's Promise docked with the alien station. Captain Hyunwoo felt nervous as he walked through the airlock with Dr. Kim and two other crew members. The alien station was huge. Their ship looked like a toy next to it. The aliens were tall, maybe 8 feet high, with gray skin and 4 arms. They wore no expressions that humans could read. Vextar stepped forward, towering over the human delegation. "Welcome, humans," Vextar said. His voice came through a translation device. "I am Supreme Commander Vextar of the Hegemony Council." "Thank you for meeting with us," Captain Hyunwoo said. He bowed slightly, showing respect. "I am Captain Park, representing Earth and all humanity. We come in peace, hoping to learn from you and share our knowledge." Dr. Kim stepped forward and offered a small device. "This contains our art, music, and scientific discoveries. We hope it shows our peaceful intentions." Vextar took the device but didn't look at it. "How interesting. Tell me, Captain Park, how many ships does your species have?" "We have exploration vessels, cargo ships, research stations," Hyunwoo answered honestly. "Maybe 500 ships capable of deep space travel. But we're building more. We hope to explore the galaxy peacefully." The aliens exchanged looks. 500 ships. "The hegemony had millions, and weapons," Torvak asked. "How do you defend your world?" "We have defense systems," Hyunwoo said carefully. "But we prefer diplomacy. We believe most conflicts can be solved through talking and understanding." More alien laughter. These humans were even more naive than they thought. "Captain Park," Vextar said, his voice taking a colder tone. "Let me explain something to you. The galaxy is not a peaceful place. Weak species do not survive. Strong species take what they need." Dr. Kim felt a chill. "Are you threatening us?" "I am educating you," Vextar replied. "Your planet has resources we require. Your species is primitive and divided. You cannot defend what you cannot keep." Captain Hyunwoo stepped forward. "If you want to trade, we can discuss terms. Earth has much to offer. But we won't be bullied or threatened." "Trade," Vextar laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "Child, you misunderstand. We are not here to trade. We are here to inform you of our decision." The alien commander activated a holographic display. It showed the hegemony fleet. Thousands of massive warships filled the space around the station. Each ship was 10 times larger than anything humanity had ever built. "By the authority of the Hegemony Council," Vextar announced formally, "we declare war on the species known as humans. You have 72 of your hours to surrender your planet. Resist, and we will take it anyway." Your primitive weapons cannot harm us. Your small fleet cannot stop us. The human delegation stood in shocked silence. Dr. Kim's hands shook. This wasn't first contact. It was a death sentence. You can't be serious, Captain Hyunwoo said. You know nothing about us. You've never even visited our world. We know enough, Kolan said. You fight primitive wars with chemical explosives. Your fastest ships take months to travel between planets. Your weapons use solid projectiles. You are insects compared to us. This is madness, Dr. Kim whispered. We came in peace. Peace is for equals, Vextar said. You are not our equals. You are resources on a valuable planet. Nothing more. Captain Hyunwoo's face hardened. All his life he had believed in diplomacy. He had hoped the stars would bring humanity friends. Instead, they brought extinction. If this is your final decision, he said quietly, then I have a message for your Hegemony Council. Speak. Insect, Vextar said with amusement. Captain Hyunwoo looked directly at the alien commander. When he spoke, his voice was calm but carried something that made even the aliens pause. You think you know us because you watched us from far away. You think we're weak because we came in peace. You declare war on us because you believe we cannot fight back. He paused. You don't know what you've just awakened. Vextar laughed. Return to your ship, Captain. Use your communications to tell your leaders they have 72 hours. After that, the hegemony takes your world. As the humans walked back to their ship, Torvak said, Should we let them leave? They'll warn their planet. Of course, Vextar replied. Let them warn their whole species. Let them prepare their primitive defenses. It will make no difference. In 3 days, Earth belongs to us. The Soul's Promise undocked from the alien station. As it prepared to jump back to Earth, Captain Hyunwoo sent one final transmission to the Hegemony fleet. This is Captain Park of Earth. You have chosen war over peace. You will regret this choice. The small human ship disappeared into hyperspace, carrying the news that would change everything. Behind them, the massive Hegemony fleet began preparations for what they believed would be the easiest conquest in their history. They had no idea what was waiting for them at Earth. The emergency alarm echoed through the halls of the Global Defense Command in Seoul. President Jae-min Lee rushed through the corridors, his security team struggling to keep up. The message from Captain Park had arrived 30 minutes ago. Humanity had 72 hours before an alien invasion. General Minho Choi stood at the center of the command room, studying multiple screens showing Earth's defenses. He was a tall man with gray hair and scars on his hands from the border wars 20 years ago. When President Lee entered, the general turned with a grim expression. Sir, we have confirmation. The Soul's Promise was allowed to return with their ultimatum. They want us to know what's coming. How bad is it? President Lee asked. Captain Park estimates over 10,000 alien warships, each one larger than our biggest vessels. They have energy weapons, shields, and technology we've never seen. Dr. Haewon Shin, the director of Advanced Weapons Research, stepped forward. She was younger than the other commanders, but her reputation was legendary. Mr. President, there's something you need to know. Something we've been preparing for. Admiral Yujin Kang joined them at the central table. Her naval uniform was crisp and her eyes were sharp as steel. Sir, for the past 30 years we've been ready for this day. President Lee looked confused. Ready for what day? General Choi activated a secure holographic display. The image showed not just Earth, but the entire solar system. Hundreds of installations appeared, scattered throughout space. Project Prometheus, the general said. We've been building since we first detected artificial signals from deep space. We knew that one day someone would come. We didn't know if they'd be friends or enemies, so we prepared for the worst. The display zoomed in on Mars. What looked like mining stations were actually hidden weapons platforms. Near Jupiter, asteroids that appeared natural were hollow and filled with missiles. Around Earth's moon, communication satellites were revealed to be heavily armed defense systems. We've been hiding our true capabilities for decades, Admiral Kang explained. Every space mission, every mining operation, every research station was also building our defenses. Dr. Shin smiled grimly. The aliens watched us, but they only saw what we wanted them to see. While they observed our primitive ships, we were building these. The display showed sleek, powerful vessels hidden in asteroid fields and behind planetary moons. These ships were nothing like the peaceful exploration vessels that the aliens had observed. How many ships do we really have? President Lee asked. Over 15,000 combat vessels, General Choi replied, plus 30,000 automated defense drones, orbital weapons platforms, and mobile defense stations. We've turned the entire solar system into a fortress. Colonel Dong-Hyun Lim, the Special Operations Commander, stood near the tactical displays. His unit specialized in impossible missions. Sir, we've also prepared ground forces. If they manage to land troops, they'll face soldiers trained for combat in every environment imaginable. But their technology is superior, President Lee said. Captain Park's report shows they have energy shields and weapons beyond our understanding. Dr. Shin grinned. That's what makes this interesting. They assume superior technology equals automatic victory, but they've never fought humans before. What do you mean? The president asked. Admiral Kang pulled up historical battle data. Every war in human history was won by the side that adapted fastest. Technology helps, but tactics and strategy win battles. The aliens think like conquerors. We think like survivors, General Choi nodded. They have energy weapons and shields. But our weapons are kinetic. Solid projectiles moving at incredible speeds. Their shields might stop energy. But can they stop a chunk of depleted uranium traveling at 30% of light speed? They fight from a position of superiority, Colonel Lim added. They're used to enemies who surrender or fight predictably. They've never faced an enemy that views desperation as motivation. The room fell silent as everyone considered the situation. Finally, President Lee spoke. Are we really going to fight them? 10,000 ships against our hidden fleet? Mr. President, General Choi said, humanity has never had a choice about fighting. We fought each other, we fought nature, we fought disease and disaster. Fighting is what we do best. The only difference is now we're united against a common enemy. Dr. Shin activated another display. We've spent decades studying their signals, learning their technology. We know their weaknesses even if they don't know ours. What weaknesses? Admiral Kang asked. They rely too heavily on their shields. Their ships are powerful but not maneuverable. They expect enemies to fight honorably at long range with predictable tactics. Colonel Lim smiled dangerously. Humans don't fight honorably. We fight to win. President Lee looked around the room at his military commanders. These were people who had spent their lives preparing for the unthinkable. Now the unthinkable had arrived. General Choi, are you confident we can defend Earth? Sir, I'm confident we can do more than defend. These aliens made a critical error. They declared war on a species that has spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of killing. They think they're hunting sheep. They're about to discover they've cornered wolves. The president turned to address the room. Send word to all commands. Activate Project Prometheus. Recall all civilian ships. Prepare for immediate deployment. Yes, sir, came the chorus of replies. Admiral Kang approached the communication console. Sir, what should we tell the aliens? They're expecting our surrender. President Lee thought for a moment. Then he smiled, but it wasn't a pleasant smile. Send them this message. To the Hegemony Fleet. You declared war on a species that has spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of killing each other. We accept your declaration. Come and take our world if you can. As the message was transmitted, alarms began sounding throughout the solar system. Hidden bases came online. Camouflaged ships powered up their engines. Weapons that had waited decades for use began charging. On Luna Base, Captain Seung-ho Park received the activation order. He was Hyun-woo's younger brother, and the news of the diplomatic mission's danger filled him with cold rage. His fighter squadron was humanity's best, trained for combat in the vacuum of space. All pilots to ready stations, he announced. This is not a drill. We are at war. Throughout the solar system, similar scenes played out. Soldiers who had trained their entire lives for this moment checked their weapons. Ship captains who had practiced attack patterns in secret now prepared to use them for real. Dr. Haewon Shin watched the displays as humanity's true fleet revealed itself. You know, I almost feel sorry for them. Sorry for who? General Choi asked. The aliens. They think they're invading a primitive world. They have no idea they're about to fight the most dangerous species in the galaxy. On the edge of the solar system, long-range sensors detected the approaching Hegemony Fleet. The aliens were coming exactly as predicted, in a massive formation designed to intimidate rather than fight efficiently. Admiral Eugene Kang studied their approach vector. They're not even trying to be tactical. They expect us to surrender when we see their numbers. Instead, they've made themselves perfect targets, Colonel Lim observed. President Lee watched the tactical displays with growing confidence. The aliens had made the classic mistake of underestimating their enemy. They saw humanity's peaceful overtures as weakness rather than choice. General, the president said, Show them why that was an error. General Minho Choi smiled. It was the smile of a predator who had been waiting patiently for prey to come within range. With pleasure, sir. All units, this is command. The enemy approaches. Remember, they chose this war. Now we finish it. Across the solar system, humanity prepared to show the galaxy what humans did to those who threatened their home. War Commander Torvak stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dominator's Wrath. His advance fleet of 300 ships moved toward the outer edge of the human solar system. The primitive species called it the Kuiper Belt. To Torvak, it was just empty space filled with floating rocks. Commander, his sensor officer reported, we detect several small objects ahead. They appear to be automated satellites, Torvak laughed. The humans think their little warning sensors will help them. Destroy them as we pass. Far away, Admiral Yujin Kang watched from her command ship Incheon's Fury. The hidden vessel was built into what looked like a large asteroid. Around her, dozens of similar ships waited in the darkness. Admiral, the enemy fleet is entering the outer perimeter, reported Lieutenant Commander Borum Lee, her tactical officer. Borum was young but brilliant, with an ability to see patterns that others missed. How many ships? Admiral Kang asked. 300 combat vessels. They're moving in standard formation. Weapons powered, but shields at minimum. Admiral Kang smiled. They're not expecting resistance. Perfect. Signal all units. Prepare for Operation Sledgehammer. Captain Sung-Ho Park received the signal aboard his fighter. He and his squadron were hidden inside what the aliens thought was just another asteroid. Around him, 50 other pilots checked their weapons one final time. Brothers and sisters, Sung-Ho announced over the comm, these aliens destroyed our diplomatic mission. They threatened our world. They think humans are weak. Today we show them their mistake. The Hegemony Advance Fleet moved confidently through space. They had fought dozens of species before. None had ever provided serious resistance. These humans would be the same. Commander, the sensor officer called. The satellites ahead are powering up some kind of energy signature. Primitive weapons, Torvak said. Activate our shields. Show these humans the futility of resistance. The first satellite suddenly revealed itself to be something much more dangerous. It was a railgun platform, designed to fire solid projectiles at incredible speeds. The tungsten rod it launched moved at 30% of light speed. The projectile hit Torvak's lead ship before their shields could fully activate. The kinetic energy was enormous. The alien vessel's shield flickered once and died. The rod punched through the ship's hull like it was paper, tearing through multiple decks before exiting the other side. Damage report, Torvak shouted. Direct hit to the Starbreaker. Hull breach on 7 decks. They're losing atmosphere. Torvak frowned. That wasn't supposed to happen. Their shields should have stopped any primitive weapon. It's just one lucky shot, he told himself. Continue the advance. Around the fleet, more asteroids suddenly came alive. Hidden weapons platforms revealed themselves, firing railguns, missile clusters, and particle beams. The humans had turned the entire asteroid field into a trap. Admiral Kang watched the tactical display with satisfaction. All units fire at will. Target their largest ships first. The Hegemony fleet found themselves under attack from every direction. Weapons they couldn't see fired projectiles they couldn't stop. Their energy shields, designed to deflect particle beams and plasma bolts, were useless against solid objects moving at tremendous speed. This is impossible, Torvak screamed. Our intelligence said they have primitive kinetic weapons. Sir, his science officer replied, these are kinetic weapons, but they're firing them faster than our shields can adapt. Lieutenant Commander Borum Lee studied the enemy formation from her position. Admiral, their fleet is bunching up. They're trying to protect their damaged ships. Perfect, Admiral Kang replied. Launch the fighters. Captain Sung-Ho Park's fighter squadron erupted from their hidden positions. The small ships were built for speed and maneuverability. Unlike the massive alien vessels, they could change direction instantly and use the asteroid field for cover. All fighters, this is Thunder Leader, Sung-Ho announced. Use the gravity wells. Make them chase us through the rocks. The human fighters dove between asteroids using gravitational assists to reach impossible speeds. The aliens tried to follow, but their larger ships couldn't match the fighters' agility. Unknown small craft approaching, Torvak's sensor officer reported. Should we target them? How many? Torvak asked. 50? No, wait, more are launching. Over 200 small ships now. Torvak was confused. Such tiny ships couldn't possibly threaten his massive vessels. Ignore them. Focus on the weapons platforms. This was exactly the mistake Captain Seung-ho was hoping for. Human fighters carried special weapons designed specifically for this type of battle. Nuclear-tipped missiles that could punch through alien hulls, and plasma cutters that could slice through the strongest armor. All units, target their engine sections, Seung-ho ordered. Disable their ability to maneuver. The fighters swarmed over the alien fleet like angry insects. They were too small and fast for the large alien weapons to target effectively. Meanwhile, their missiles found weak points in the alien ship's hulls. Torvak watched in growing horror as his fleet took damage from enemies he couldn't properly fight. How are they moving so fast? Our sensors can barely track them. Sir, his tactical officer said, they're using the gravity fields of the asteroids to accelerate. They're not just flying through this field, they're using it as a weapon. The hegemony had never encountered tactics like this. Their usual enemies fought predictably, ship against ship at long range. These humans fought like pirates, using every advantage they could find. Admiral Kang studied the battle reports. Boram, what's your assessment? The enemy is adapting, but slowly. They're used to fighting enemies who play by their rules. We're not. Good, signal Captain Seung-ho. Time for Phase 2. Captain Seung-ho received the order and smiled grimly. All fighters switched to ramming protocols. If your ship is too damaged to return, make it count. This order would have been suicide against most enemies. But human fighters were built differently. They had reinforced hulls and pilots trained to survive impacts that would kill other species. The fighters that were too damaged to continue fighting turned themselves into guided missiles. They rammed into alien ships at full speed, their reinforced hulls punching deep into enemy vessels before their nuclear reactors overloaded. This is madness, Torvak shouted. They're destroying their own ships. Sir, his science officer said with growing fear, I don't think they consider them destroyed. I think they consider them ammunition. The battle raged for hours. The hegemony advance fleet, which had expected easy victory, found themselves fighting for survival. Human weapons platforms emerged from everywhere. Fighters attacked from impossible angles. The space around them filled with debris and explosions. Finally, Torvak accepted the truth. His 300 ships were reduced to less than 100. The humans had lost some platforms and fighters, but their main fleet hadn't even appeared yet. All ships, he announced, retreat to the rally point. We need to warn the main fleet. As the surviving alien ships fled, Admiral Kang allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. Signal all units. Phase 1 complete. Prepare for the main event. Captain Seung-ho's fighter limped back toward the hidden base. His ship was damaged but functional. Over the radio he heard the casualty reports. They had lost 30 fighters and 12 weapons platforms. The aliens had lost 200 ships. Thunder leader to base, he reported. First blood goes to humanity. Admiral Kang opened a channel to Earth Command. General Choi, this is Admiral Kang. The advance fleet has been repelled. Enemy losses are severe. Our losses are minimal. General Choi's voice came back strong and confident. Excellent work, Admiral. How did they react to our tactics? Exactly as Dr. Shin predicted. They couldn't adapt to unconventional warfare. They expect enemies to fight like they do, honorably, predictably, stupidly, and now they'll report back to their main fleet? Yes, sir. War Commander Torvak survived. He'll tell them that humans are more dangerous than expected. Good, General Choi replied. Let them worry. Let them doubt. When their main fleet arrives, they'll be afraid instead of confident. As the last alien ships disappeared into hyperspace, the human defenders began preparing for the next phase. The hegemony had expected an easy conquest. Instead, they had learned that humans were dangerous in ways they couldn't understand. War Commander Torvak's final transmission echoed through space as his damaged fleet retreated. Supreme Commander, we have encountered unexpected resistance. These aren't primitives. They're apex predators. Request immediate reinforcement of the main fleet. Admiral Kang heard the transmission and smiled. Good. Now they know they're not hunting sheep. Too bad for them, they still don't know they're fighting wolves. Supreme Commander Vextar paced the bridge of his massive flagship, Galaxy's End. The ship was 5 miles long and carried enough firepower to destroy a planet. Around it, the full hegemony warfleet stretched across space, 9,000 ships ready for conquest. War Commander Torvak stood before him, his uniform torn and his face bearing scars from the battle at the outer system. His report had been disturbing. You're telling me, Vextar said slowly, That 300 of our best ships were defeated by floating rocks and tiny fighters? Supreme Commander, they weren't just rocks. The humans had hidden weapons throughout the asteroid field. Their tactics were unprecedented. Science Commander Kalan studied the battle data on multiple screens. The humans used kinetic weapons at relativistic speeds. Our shields are designed for energy weapons. We didn't expect solid projectiles moving that fast. And their fighters? Vexter asked. They used the gravity fields to accelerate beyond normal limits. Some pilots deliberately crashed their ships into our vessels. They fought like they were already dead. Vextar's 4 eyes narrowed. Desperation makes any species dangerous. But we still outnumber them 30-1. Prepare for full assault. On Earth, Dr. Heiwan Shin worked frantically in her research facility deep beneath the Himalayas. Around her, teams of scientists and engineers put the finishing touches on humanity's most secret weapons. Status. Report, she called to her teams. The replicator drones are ready for deployment, announced Dr. Jiwon Bayek, the psychological warfare specialist. Each one can create 50 copies of itself using enemy ship materials. Phantom protocols are online, reported Master Engineer Young-sik Kwon. We can make our ships appear to be destroyed while remaining fully functional. Dr. Shin smiled grimly. And the Berserker project? Ready for field testing, replied Dr. Sungmin Park, the military cybernetics expert. Though I still think it's insane. Insane is what humans do best, Dr. Shin replied. Signal General Choi. Tell him we're ready to show the aliens what real warfare looks like. General Minho Choi received the message at the same time Admiral Yu Jin Kang's scouts reported the enemy's approach. The full alien fleet was moving toward Earth in a formation designed to inspire terror. It would have worked on most species. All units, this is command, General Choi announced. The enemy brings their full strength. Perfect. Now we show them why humans have never lost a war we were determined to win. Commander Young-E Cho received the order aboard her ship Busan's Revenge. She had been a submarine captain before the space program recruited her. Her specialty was stealth warfare and impossible surprise attacks. Helm, take us to attack position Beta 7, she ordered. We're going to introduce these aliens to submarine tactics. Her ship was designed to be invisible to enemy sensors. It used technology borrowed from Earth's nuclear submarines, adapted for space warfare. The aliens would never see it coming. Master Sergeant Kyung-Soo Han checked his equipment one final time. His Marine unit was preparing for something no military had ever attempted, boarding actions in deep space. The aliens thought space combat was fought only with ships. They were about to learn otherwise. Listen up, Marines, he told his unit. These aliens have never faced human ground troops. They don't know that we can fight in vacuum, on moving ships in zero gravity. Today we teach them. His Marines wore powered armor that could operate in any environment. They carried weapons designed to work without atmosphere. Most importantly, they had trained for years to fight in conditions that would kill most other species. The alien fleet approached Earth's orbital defenses expecting another conventional battle. Instead, they found something unprecedented. Commander Young-E Cho's stealth ship, Busan's Revenge, appeared suddenly in the middle of the enemy formation. It had somehow passed through their entire fleet without being detected. How is this possible? Vextar demanded. Our sensors should detect any ship. Sir, his sensor officer replied. Their ship generates no heat signature, no energy emissions. It's like it doesn't exist. The stealth ship fired once, a spread of nuclear torpedoes that detonated inside the enemy formation. But these weren't ordinary explosives. They were Dr. Shin's replicator weapons. Each torpedo released thousands of tiny machines that immediately began consuming alien ship hulls and turning the material into more copies of themselves. Within minutes, enemy vessels were being eaten alive from the inside. Unknown weapon type, Kolan reported. The devices are self-replicating. They're consuming our ships. Destroy them, Fexeter ordered. We can't, sir. They're too small for our weapons to target and they're inside our hulls. The hegemony fleet tried to maintain formation, but the replicator swarms were spreading from ship to ship. Meanwhile, more human vessels appeared using the phantom protocols Dr. Shin had developed. Human ships that appeared to be destroyed suddenly came back to life. Wreckage that the aliens ignored revealed itself to be camouflaged weapons platforms. The space around Earth became a nightmare of surprise attacks and impossible tactics. Sir, Torvak reported, the humans have ships hiding everywhere. Our sensors can't tell what's real and what's fake. Admiral Yu-Jin Kang watched the battle from her flagship. Boram analysis? Lieutenant Commander Boram Lee studied the tactical displays. They're confused and frightened. They expect enemies to fight like they do. Openly, honestly, predictably. We're fighting like humans, deceptively, creatively, desperately. Perfect. Signal Sergeant Han. Time for the boarding actions. Master Sergeant Kyung-Soo Han received the order with grim satisfaction. All units prepare for EVA assault. Remember, these aliens have never fought an enemy that could survive in vacuum. The Marine assault units launched from hidden positions throughout the human fleet. They used personal thrusters to cross the void between ships, moving too fast and small for alien weapons to target effectively. The aliens watched in horror as armored humans landed on their ship hulls and began cutting their way inside. This was impossible. No known species could survive unprotected space combat. "They're on our hull," came reports throughout the alien fleet. Armed soldiers in vacuum suits. Vextar couldn't believe what he was hearing. That's impossible. No one fights in open space. But the Marines were already inside alien ships, fighting their way through corridors with weapons designed for close combat. The aliens had powerful energy weapons, but they were too large for shipboard fighting. The humans carried compact firearms that worked perfectly in cramped spaces. Sergeant Han led his team through the corridors of an alien dreadnought. The alien crew had never faced enemies who could fight effectively in their own ships. They were trained for ship-to-ship combat, not hand-to-hand fighting in narrow passages. Bridge secured, Han reported as his team captured the ship's command center. This vessel is now under human control. Similar reports came from throughout the alien fleet. Human Marines were capturing ships from the inside, while human vessels attacked from the outside. The hegemony found themselves fighting a three-dimensional battle they didn't understand. Dr. Ji-Won Beck activated the psychological warfare protocols from her command post. She had studied alien communication patterns for years, learning how to turn their own technology against them. All alien vessels, her voice came through their communication systems. "This is Earth Command. Your Supreme Commander has abandoned you. Your fleet is already defeated. Surrender now or be destroyed." The message was false, but it was transmitted using hegemony command codes that made it appear authentic. Throughout the alien fleet, crews began to panic, thinking their leaders had betrayed them. "Sir," Colin reported to Vextar, "we're receiving contradictory orders from multiple sources. Our communication network has been compromised." "How?" Vextar demanded. "Unknown, sir. The humans appear to have infiltrated our command systems." The battle became a rout. Alien ships that weren't being consumed by replicators or captured by Marines began retreating in panic. Their formation collapsed as individual captains made their own decisions about survival. Commander Young-A Cho's stealth ship appeared again, this time next to Vextar's flagship. "Target their command bridge," she ordered. "Let's cut off the head." The galaxy's end found itself under attack by an enemy it couldn't see properly. Human weapons designed for stealth warfare tore through its defenses. The massive ship, pride of the hegemony fleet, began to list as its systems failed. "All ships retreat," Vextar finally ordered. "Fall back to the outer system." But the retreat became a massacre. Human ships that had appeared damaged suddenly revealed themselves to be fully operational. The Phantom protocols made it impossible for the aliens to tell which targets were real. As the hegemony fleet fled toward their staging area, Admiral Kang opened communications with General Choi. "General, this is Admiral Kang. Enemy fleet is in full retreat. We've captured 47 intact vessels and destroyed over 300 more. Casualties?" General Choi asked. "Minimal, sir. The enemy never adapted to our tactics. They fought like they expected us to be honorable. And humans are anything but honorable when survival is at stake." General Choi replied with satisfaction. "Master Sergeant," Han's voice came over the comm from a captured alien ship. "Command, this is Han. We've secured their intelligence database. These aliens have never encountered an enemy like..." Supreme Commander Vextar stood in the ruins of what had once been the hegemony's proudest command center. Rigel Station, their most fortified base, was under siege. Through the cracked viewport, he could see human ships surrounding the station like hungry predators. Only 2,000 ships remained of his once mighty fleet. The humans had followed them across 3 star systems, destroying everything in their path. This was not the quick conquest Vextar had promised his people. This was extinction. "Sir," War Commander Torvak reported, his voice hollow with defeat, The humans are demanding our surrender. Never, Vextar snarled. The hegemony does not surrender to primitives. But even as he spoke, Vexitar knew they were no longer facing primitives. The humans had revealed technologies and tactics that surpassed anything the hegemony possessed. Worse, they fought with a creativity and ruthlessness that was completely alien to civilized warfare. Fleet Admiral Tae Young-no commanded the human fleet from his flagship, Soul's Vengeance. The ship had been built in secret over the past decade, incorporating every lesson learned from studying alien technology. It was twice the size of the largest hegemony vessel and carried weapons the aliens couldn't even comprehend. "Admiral," reported his tactical officer, "the enemy station is heavily fortified. Traditional assault would be costly." "Then we won't use traditional assault," Admiral No replied. "Signal Colonel Park. Time for the final lesson." Colonel Insu Park received the order aboard his assault transport. He was the eldest of the Park brothers, a career soldier who had spent his life preparing for the impossible. His mission today was to capture the Hegemony Command Center from the inside. "Listen up, soldiers," he announced to his unit. "Today we end this war. The aliens think their station is impregnable. They're about to learn that nothing is impregnable to human determination." Dr. So-Young Kim worked frantically in her laboratory aboard the command ship. She was the sole survivor of the original diplomatic mission, rescued when human Marines had captured her prison ship. Now she was helping coordinate the final assault. "Colonel Park," she called over the comm, "I've analyzed the station's life support systems. There's a weakness in Section 7 that your team can exploit." "Thank you, Doctor," Insu replied. "Your knowledge of their technology has saved countless lives." The assault began at dawn ship time. But this wasn't a conventional attack. The humans had learned to fight wars in ways that civilized species couldn't imagine. Instead of a frontal assault, they released thousands of tiny infiltration drones. Each drone was smaller than a human fist, but carried enough explosive to disable critical systems. The drones spread throughout the station like a virus, targeting power grids, communications, and life support. "Unknown devices throughout the station," Colon reported. "They're too small for our defensive systems to target." "How did they get inside?" Vextar demanded. "Unknown, sir. They appear to have infiltrated through our waste disposal systems, air recycling, and maintenance conduits. The humans are attacking us from inside our own infrastructure." While the drones caused chaos, Colonel Park's assault team approached the station in ships disguised as debris. The humans had learned that the best way to approach an enemy fortress was to make the enemy ignore you completely. "Docking in 30 seconds, Park announced. "Remember, we're not here to destroy. We're here to capture. The galaxy needs to see what happens to those who threaten humanity." Master Sergeant Kyung-Soo Han led the breach team through the station's hull. His Marines had become experts at fighting in alien environments. They moved through the corridors like ghosts, neutralizing enemy forces before the aliens even knew they were there. "Sector Alpha secured," Han reported. "Alien defenders are falling back to the command center." "Excellent," Colonel Park replied. "Drive them exactly where we want them." The human strategy was brilliant in its simplicity. Instead of fighting for every corridor, they herded the alien defenders toward the central command center. This concentrated the enemy in one location where they could be captured rather than killed. Admiral No watched the assault progress from his flagship. "Signal Earth Command. Tell them we're in final phase." President Jamin Lee received the update at Global Defense Command. General Min-ho Choi stood beside him, monitoring the battle displays. After months of warfare, they were finally ending the threat that had nearly destroyed humanity. "Mr. President," General Choi said, "our forces have performed beyond all expectations. The aliens never adapted to human tactics." "Why not?" President Lee asked. "They have superior technology, because they think like conquerors, not survivors. They expect enemies to fight honorably by established rules. Humans fight to win by any means necessary." On Rigel Station, Vextar made his final stand in the command center. Around him, the last of his loyal officers prepared for a battle they knew they couldn't win. "Sir," Torvak said quietly, "perhaps we should consider surrender. The humans have shown mercy to crews that don't resist." "Mercy?" Vextar laughed bitterly. "From primitives? Never." But his laughter died as the command center doors exploded inward. Human soldiers poured through the breach, their weapons trained on the alien commanders. They moved with military precision, covering every angle, cutting off every escape route. Colonel Insu Park entered behind his soldiers, his weapon lowered but ready. He looked around the room at the alien command staff, these beings who had threatened to destroy his world and kill his people. Supreme Commander Vextar, Park said in perfect hegemony language, by the authority of Earth Command, you are under arrest for crimes against humanity. I will not surrender to insects, Vextar snarled, reaching for his weapon. He never completed the movement. Master Sergeant Han's stun blast dropped him instantly. The other alien officers, seeing their leader fall, slowly raised their hands in surrender. Command center secured, Colonel Park reported. All enemy leadership captured alive. Admiral No received the report with satisfaction. Excellent work, Colonel. Signal all ships. Rigel Station is ours, but the humans weren't finished. They had learned that victory meant more than just winning battles. It meant ensuring the enemy could never threaten them again. Dr. So Young Kim accessed the station's communication array, the same technology that had once been used to threaten Earth. Now it would carry a different message. This is Dr. Kim of Earth Command, she announced on all hegemony frequencies. To all species of the hegemony, and all others who might be listening. Your Supreme Commander declared war on humanity, believing us to be weak and primitive. We have proven him wrong. The message was transmitted across the galaxy, carrying video of the captured hegemony leadership and the human fleet occupying their most powerful base. The hegemony fleet has been destroyed, Kim continued. Their leadership is in our custody. Their threat to Earth has ended. But this message is not about our victory. It is a warning to others. Admiral No took over the transmission. To any species listening, humanity seeks peace. We prefer diplomacy to warfare, cooperation to conquest. But we are prepared for war if you force it upon us. Choose wisely which you offer us. The broadcast reached every corner of hegemony space and beyond. For the first time, the galaxy learned what humans were truly capable of when threatened. President Lee's final message came from Earth itself. The species known as humanity has defended itself successfully against unprovoked aggression. We hold no malice toward the hegemony people, only their leaders who chose war over peace. We offer amnesty to all who surrender and assistance to those who wish to live in peace. However, the president continued, his voice taking on a harder edge, let this be a lesson to all. Humanity remembers those who threaten us. We are patient, but we are not weak. We are peaceful, but we are not defenseless. Attack us, and you will learn why that was an error. On Rigel Station, Vextar regained consciousness in a human detention cell. Through the transparent wall, he could see human soldiers guarding alien prisoners with professional courtesy. They were being fed, given medical care, treated according to military law. Why? He asked Colonel Park when the human officer came to check on him. Why do you show mercy to enemies? Because, Park replied, we're not like you. We don't fight from arrogance or greed. We fight to protect what we love. Now that you're no longer a threat, you're just another being who made a mistake. Vextar stared at his captor in amazement. You could have destroyed us completely. Why didn't you? Because destruction is easy, Park answered. Building something better is hard. We're going to help your people learn a different way to live among the stars. As news of humanity's victory spread across the galaxy, other species began to reconsider their assumptions about the newcomers from Earth. The humans had proven they could fight when necessary, but they had also shown mercy and victory. Trade delegations began arriving at Earth within months. Species that had once planned to exploit humanity now sought alliance with them. The galaxy had learned a new word, human, and with it came a new understanding of what that word meant. Dr. Haewon Shin watched the diplomatic ships arriving at Earth's orbital stations. You know, she said to General Choi, I think we've started something important here. What's that? The general asked. Peace, she replied. Real peace. Based on strength and mutual respect rather than